I use my roommate's face towel to clean up his pee. He still hasn't noticed. I go to college in Midwest United States. I live in a dorm and have a roommate who shares a bathroom with me. He's not from the United States and seems a little nervous to talk to anybody who isn't from his home country. The first few weeks of college, I started to notice pee on the toilet seat. No big deal. I cleaned it up. After about the 10th time, I asked him if he could stop peeing on the toilet seat, or if he does, wipe it up. He said okay, and went on his day. About 3 months later, I started to notice pee all over the floor, toilet seat, and all around the toilet, worse than before. Like and subscribe for part 2.
I stole thousands of dollars in change over 2 years working at McDonald's. When I was 16, I got a job at McDonald's. I hated making food and working front counter. I always asked to work drive-through window, taking money at the first window. This was before credit cards, so everyone paid in cash. All I would do is keep a quarter or dime of almost everyone's change I gave back. I would put that extra quarter or dime in a special spot in the register. Once I got 5 or 10 worth of change, I would dump the change into the right spot and pocket a 10 or 5. Some nights I would leave with over $50 in cash, a lot to a 16-year-old me. No one ever caught on, and only twice I can remember people telling me I gave them the wrong amount of change back. I would just act like a dumb kid who miscounted. I don't know how nobody at work caught on, because I always had a ton of change at the end of the day.
I use my roommate's face towel to clean up his pee. He still hasn't noticed part 2. I used my own toilet paper and started going through it very quickly, so it was getting expensive. I ended up walking over to his side of the counter and grabbing one of his extra towels. I've been using it to clean pee for about 1 month now, and I've definitely noticed a change in color due to the urine and the fact that I've never seen him wash it. I feel bad about it, but what he's doing is disgusting, and I've tried to tell him to stop many times. Should I feel sorry and stop? I once skunked a bottle of wine given to a bullying manager on my team, then gave it to her. Many months ago, I was working for a large technology company. One of these managers was a very nasty woman who was quietly bullying some of her employees and one of the other managers on our team. We were trying to deal with her through the proper channels, but the holidays sprang up in the meantime. When the holidays came around, I bought a case of a nice red wine that I enjoyed and prepped them all with gift bags. Except one bottle, the bottle for the nasty manager. I took that bottle and spent about 2 weeks heating the bottle and chilling the bottle by wrapping it in a particularly warm heating pad and standing it on top of my old apartment's hot water heater for 1 or 2 hours, then sticking it in the freezer until the bottle was cold to the touch. My goal was to ruin the wine, turn it to vinegar. But, like and subscribe for part 2. I ended a girl's gymnastics career when I karate kicked a door open and broke her toe. We were at a gymnastics camp when we were teenagers, and there was a swinging door that I had wanted to bust open with a sweet karate kick all week long. The only thing stopping me was that I was afraid there was going to be someone on the other side, and I didn't want to hurt anyone. Well, the last day comes around, and I said fuck it, and kicked that door as hard as I could. My friend and teammate was on the other side, and the door caught on her big toe, pulling it back and breaking it so badly she couldn't compete for almost a year. Missed regionals, and ended up quitting. She just assumed I had pushed the door open like a normal person, but nope, I karate kicked that. I still feel bad about it, and it was about 15 years ago. Sorry girl. I once skunked a bottle of wine given to a bullying manager on my team, then gave it to her part 2. The holidays came, and I gave my fellow managers their gift wine, and we all headed out of the office for a few days for company-wide OOO. When we came back, everyone was talking about how wonderful the wine was. Except the nasty manager, who was surprised everyone loved it. She was going on about how nasty it was, and how bad it smelled, and how she couldn't even drink it. It was intended as a harmless prank, but when she was fired a few days later for bullying people, she exploded and mentioned my shitty wine in her tirade as she threw things around the office on her way out the door. I felt some degree of pride about that, because fuck her for bullying people. After my bike was locked by campus police for being illegally parked, I damaged property to get my bike free and get out of a ticket. When I was in college, I illegally parked my bike onto a signpost. I did this because all the bike slots were overflowing every day, and there just wasn't enough parking for all the students. So I locked it to a nearby signpost, I can't remember what it said. Probably no parking LOL. Anyways, I locked it, went to class, and when I came out, it had a lock on it from the campus police along with a ticket. It was one of those heavy-duty U-shaped metal bar locks. Like and subscribe for part 2. I leave fake parking tickets on cars that deserve real ones. I ordered a batch of them off Amazon and leave them wherever. Sometimes if nobody is around, I make an effort and fill in all the details on it to freak them out before they get to the bottom and see it's a fake. Sometimes I just write something dumb in the comments and leave the rest blank. I've left them on cars at my university that aren't technically illegally parked and on cars that are parked in no parking zones at my grocery store. I especially do it when somebody is parked in a handicapped spot that's not supposed to no plate or hang tag. Local laws are sketchy on this. Some would argue it's misrepresenting itself as official and therefore illegal, but at the bottom of them they say they're fake. So others would argue the worst they could get me on is littering if the police actually cared enough to do something. I walked home that day, then later at night when nobody was around, I went back to my bike, worked the sign post out of the ground, which was compact crushed stone, and got my bike free. The lock was still on my frame, but I could ride it. I laid the sign on the ground, rode back home, then the next day I borrowed a stone wool attachment for a drill and cut through the lock. It wore down the attachment, but I got out of a $15 ticket. Yes, I was an asshole, but I was determined not to let the man win. I always thank Siri and Alexa because I feel bad bossing them around, and also I want the AIs to remember my kindness once the robot uprising is upon us. I believe that robots are going to make people zoos, and I want to stay alive. Siri, Alexa, I'm sorry I judged you. I trash my coworkers' mugs and dishes when they leave it soaking in the community sink. At work we have a kitchenette, and at the end of the day, my coworkers leave their dishes and mugs filled with oatmeal and other things left to soak. We even have a sign that states do not leave personal belongings in the kitchenette. We are not responsible for lost items. I stay at work pretty late, so I see the night janitor come in and clean. I notice that he goes out of his way to wash the dishes and mugs, which isn't a part of his job. Our company only contracts them to do floors and trash, so it's our responsibility to clean up after ourselves. Like and subscribe for part 2. I trash my coworkers' mugs and dishes when they leave it soaking in the community sink part 2. My coworkers must have noticed too, because they have since stopped doing their own dishes and has been leaving piles in the sink, knowing that they will be magically washed and dried in the morning. They even make comments about the Mexican sucker that's cleaning for them. This has been ongoing for a few weeks now, and my coworkers even have the audacity to complain about water spots on their mugs. Like and subscribe for part 3. So throughout the day, when I find myself alone in the kitchenette, I take an item or two and toss them out in the building hallway trash so it can't be found. We work in a building where we share office space with other businesses, and there's no cameras, so I haven't been caught yet. A coworker asked our manager about their items being taken, but my manager just reiterated the policy. I guess I am being petty, but my coworkers are trash, and I don't feel bad. In high school, I forged all of my report cards. Back in high school, I wasn't a great student, and report cards always got me in a lot of trouble. Around the 9th grade, I started intercepting the mail, scanning in my report card on my Windows PC, then carefully changing all the grades and comments from my teachers using text and numbers that were already on the page. Afterward, I'd very carefully print it out so everything was in the correct spots, then folded it up and put it back in the envelope. Like and subscribe for part 2. In high school, I forged all of my report cards part 2. At one point in time, my mother was corresponding with one of my teachers via email to track my progress. I went as far as to make an email address that matched my teacher's, just from a different domain, and would delete the real emails from my teacher and forge fake emails that made me look better. Somehow, I never got caught. McDonald's manager has dirty mind, but it's my fault, part 2. She told me she missed me, and that she is holding her pink teddy bear that I got here a few years previous for Valentine's Day. I said to her something like, "That's good, you've got you pink teddy." I was next, so I ended the conversation. A minute or two later, the assistant manager came up to me and said that I needed to be careful because this is a family restaurant and there are kids here. Like and subscribe for part 2. McDonald's manager has dirty mind, but it's my fault, part 3. Then she went back behind the counter That's it. No explanation of what I might have said. So I thought back over the conversation, and then the light bulb came on. I told her it's a teddy bear. She says back it doesn't matter. It's what people heard. So basically, you've got a dirty mind, but it's somehow my fault that your mind went right to the gutter. Write in the comments, what is your story?